And I saw there is a suggestion that China would join in those military exercises if they happened. Where does China fit into that relationship, and what are the power dynamics between those three nations?
So China already does joint military exercises with Russia in the Pacific region, and it will sometimes do those in a way that will deliberately be looking to upset partners like Japan. So when there was a Quad meeting in Japan not long ago, Russian and Chinese bombers deliberately flew quite close to Japan. So they've been doing these sorts of tactics for a while. I think what these South Korean news agencies are reporting is that there's some talk that they may try to bring North Korea into some of those exercises. There may be naval exercises involving Russia, China, and North Korea together, and that would obviously be signaling that those three are clubbing together when you've got countries like the US, South Korea, and Japan meeting recently at summit level, and those countries exercise obviously together.
Yeah, it's quite the trifecta, isn't it? When we look at North Korea and their own weapons program, where's that up to? Are they making major advancements?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they are. So North Korea has been a de facto nuclear power for some time now, but it's not just about having nuclear weapons. It's about getting them small enough that you can put them on missiles, getting those missiles reliable enough and accurate enough that you can definitely hit targets. And they've been demonstrating some progress on those fronts, I think, including probably a solid fuel, so a more resilient, more reliable missile, which is harder for the enemy to take out in advance, a solid fuel ICBM, an intercontinental range ballistic missile. So that could reach targets in the continental United States if it's accurate. It looks like they've got that capability now. Whether they can really use it, of course, we don't want to find out. But if they were to strengthen their partnership with Russia, Russia's had has been an established nuclear power for decades and decades, and has lots of technology that North Korea doesn't have. It has a satellite system for targeting. So there's lots of things that North Korea could potentially ask Russia for. It's whether Russia's desperate enough to give those things.
Okay, you mentioned the US. How is the relationship going between North Korea and the US? We all remember that quite bizarre entry to the history books a few years ago when Kim Jong-un met with Donald Trump. How have things gone since then under the Biden administration?
Obviously, no return to Trump's diplomacy of choosing to do face-to-face meetings with Kim. It's interesting that the last time that I think Putin and Kim met was in Vladivostok in 2019, and I think that was around the time that Trump was meeting Kim. Russia's always tried to be clear that it's a player whenever the US reaches out to North Korea, which is rare. But Biden's taken a very different approach. I think most people would say that the US gained very little from the outreach that Trump offered. We know that Kim wanted that the optics of a face-to-face meeting with the US president. That gives him a tremendous amount of prestige at home, and it flatters his own ego. And I think Biden's saying, well, we're not going to give that to you.
Alex Bristow, really appreciate your analysis. Thanks so much for making the time.
Thanks very much.